I am studying trauma right now. Specifically, I'm studying trauma as trauma-informed spiritual direction. And while I'm only starting to scratch the surface about it, what I have noticed is that there is likely a lot more trauma out there than many of us initially realized. Or to personalize it, there's likely a lot more trauma out there than I was aware of. Whether it is from my own experiences, who hasn't experienced it related to COVID, or 9/11, or all sorts of other events. And here, I'm only raising issues of communal or community-wide trauma. Nevertheless, in some of the resources that are available for providing trauma-informed care, there are some questions really to help people start out. And some of those questions are rather simple, like, how are you? Or what do you need right now? And in many organizational contexts, those were some of the questions that were both easiest as well as most difficult to ask, especially at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. In part because, do you want to hear how I am? Or do you want me to tell you how I am in relation to what I think you're asking, which is really about my workload? Because I may not be able to fulfill all of my work responsibilities, but in many ways, is that a conversation I can really have with my boss, my supervisor, my organization? Now, I don't mean this in relationship to my personal organization, but in many ways, most of us were faced with these conversations that many of us were not equipped to have. We're not equipped to have with our organizations, with those with whom we live, with those around us, because we do not have a framework for these conversations. We haven't experienced anything like that. And so as not to appear to be losing things, many of us just became more stoic and gave the answers that we would expect. How are you? I'm fine. What do you need right now? "Hmm, maybe a day or so off just to do some personal stuff." In other words, in communal trauma, many of us didn't really acknowledge externally what we faced. And I'm starting to wonder if that's because many of us didn't acknowledge internally what we are facing at this moment. More about trauma-informed spiritual care soon as I continue to process it myself. Thank you.